Good morning and welcome to today's collective worship for Thursday, the 28th of January. We are gathered here in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit to think about our value, peace. Now, today we are going to be learning about Martin Luther King Day, which actually was last Monday, but I thought it fitted very nicely with our value of peace, which we've just started. Because Martin Luther King, as you will find out, was a man who very much promoted equality and peace amongst all people. So I'm going to read through the slides for you, and at times I might ask you to pause so that you can think about some questions. So we're going to understand who Martin Luther King was and why he is remembered through the celebration of a national holiday in America. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is an American national holiday marking the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King was born on January 15, 1929. The holiday is held in January each year. Who was Martin Luther King? Martin Luther King was born in Atlanta in the USA. As a child, he enjoyed doing all sorts of things that you enjoy doing. He enjoyed playing sports, he learned to play the piano and enjoyed going to school. But life was sometimes difficult for Martin Luther King because he was African American. So in America in the 1950s and 60s, life was a little bit different from now. In the 1960s, life was particularly unfair for African Americans. They weren't allowed to use the same facilities as the white people in the United States of America. There were separate areas for African Americans and white people on public transport like buses and trains. African Americans had to use separate areas of parks and restaurants, and even separate toilets to those used by white people. In some states in the USA, African American children weren't allowed to go to school, or they had to go to separate schools. These usually weren't given a lot of money and didn't have many resources. Now, can you pause me now and think about whether or not you think that's fair and why or why not? So, thinking about what is fair. Why is Martin Luther King famous? Martin Luther King was a Christian. He wanted to make sure that all Americans had the same rights regardless of their race. He became a civil rights activist. This means he campaigned for improved rights for people to try to make all people equal. The 1955 bus boycott. In 1955, Rosa Parks, an African-American woman, was traveling on a bus when a white man got on. In the 1950s, African-Americans would have to give up their seats to white people. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, and she was arrested by the police. Martin Luther King asked African Americans to protest peacefully by not traveling on the buses in the city where Rosa had been traveling. Now, protest peacefully means to do something to show what you think, but not to do anything that's violent or loud or against the law. They boycotted, that means they did not use, the buses for 385 days. That's more than a year. The boycott ended when a court ruled that the segregation of people, which means the separate areas for people with different coloured skin on the buses, should be stopped. I have a dream. In 1963, Martin Luther King led a huge march on Washington, D.C., the US Capitol. Here, in front of a huge crowd, Martin Luther King made his famous I Have a Dream speech. Here is a short extract. I have a dream that one day, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as brothers and sisters. Amazing achievements. In 1964, Martin Luther King received the Nobel Peace Prize for his work to end racial prejudice in the United States. Now, racial prejudice means where people might be discriminated against or left out because of the colour of their skin. The law was changed so that everyone could vote. It is because of Martin Luther King and others like him that people in the United States have equal rights today, although there is still a long way to go. Okay, beautiful listening and following. For your task today, after today's collective worship, I would love it if you could make me a poster about I Have a Dream. You could design something that's really eye-catching to put up on your wall and to share with us teachers on Seesaw or Tapestry as well about I Have a Dream. Why is it really important that Martin Luther King did the work that he did for fairness and equality? Okay, beautiful listening, guys. Thank you.